Hi guys, so in this video I'll be talking about the nephron. So the nephron, which is often referred to as the urinary tubule, is the basic functioning unit of the kidney. That means that it can function on its own, and also it is responsible for filtration and production of urine. So in this video we're going to be looking at the structure of the nephron. Now, if you remember, in my last video, I talked about the anatomy of the kidney, and we said that the renal artery that enters the kidney terminates at a point which is called the afferent arterioles. So let's assume, because we can't talk about the nephron without talking about the associated blood vessels, right? So let's assume this is the blood vessel called the afferent arterioles, all right? So it moves and forms a ball-like structure, a ball-like mass. Now, these ball-like mass are blood vessels that are twisted. The ball-like mass is referred to as the glomerulus, right? The glomerulus. Now, it has an extension. That extension blood vessel is referred to as the efferent arterioles. All right? So this is the blood vessel that is closely associated with nephron. Now let's move into the nephron proper. The nephron begins with a capsule that looks like this. Now this capsule is what we call the Bowman's capsule. The Bowman's capsule. Now, immediately after the Bowman's capsule, there is what we call the convoluted tubule. Convoluted tubule. And because it is at the beginning of the nephron, we term it the proximal convoluted tubule. All right? So immediately after the proximal convoluted tubule, there is a depression. This tube starts falling down. It starts falling down and ascending. Now, when ascending, it expands. The tube expands at this point when ascending. Now, this depression is referred to as the Henle's loop or the loop of Henle's. Henle's loop or the loop of Henle, right? And it is divided into two parts. We have the descending limb and the ascending limb. So this point is referred to as the descending limb. Descending limb, and this part is referred to as the ascending limb. All right. Now, the ascending limb has two parts as well. We have the thin ascending limb, and the thick ascending limb. All right. So that's what the Henle's loop look like. Now, let's move. Now, this tube moves and forms another convolution. Now, this convolution is what we refer to as the distal convoluted tubule. All right. Now, distal because it is at the ending. All right. So whenever you see proximal, it means that it starts is the starting and distal is the ending. So every tube has the distal end and the proximal end. All right. So this is referred to as distal convoluted tubule. Now, this tube terminates at a point called the collecting duct. It terminates at this point called the collecting duct. Now, this is where everything that is filtered from the blood vessel, everything that is filtered from the blood vessel empties into. Now, this collecting duct connects to the pelvis of the kidney and to the urethra and out of the body. So this is the structure of the nephron. Before I forget, the efferent arteriolus wraps itself around the nephron, right? So this afferent arterioles, it doesn't just end here. It begins to wrap itself around the nephron. It begins to wrap itself around the nephron. It begins to wrap itself around the nephron at this point. It begins to wrap itself around the nephron. Now, this also does the job of filtration, which I'm going to talk about when I'm talking about urine formation. All right. So this is the structure or the anatomy of the nephron. Thank you and see you in my next video.